As a millennial, I am routinely told that we've ruined absolutely everything. We killed romance by using dating apps, we killed the housing market by not all having six-figure jobs, and we've killed the doorbell industry by always just standing outside our friends' houses and texting here. But one thing we're really good at is crowdfunding passion projects and making deeply loved, true to the source material fan films. This is largely because Hollywood likes to take our favourite intellectual properties, chew them up through the money machine, sick them back out on us and go, there you go, bleh, it's that childhood thing you like, bleh, it's Sonic, yeah. The only solution, besides starting a deadly petition, is to simply take matters into your own hands. And thanks to the wonders of websites like Kickstarter and how easy it is to get your hands on studio quality filming equipment these days, there's loads of people who actually do that. So, where Hollywood has stuffed up some iconic stories in the last few years, we've had these low-budget beauties to make up for it. My name is Adam Cleary, and these are 10 incredible fan films that totally succeeded where Hollywood failed. Number 10, Darth Maul, Apprentice. Yeah, going to start with this one just to give you an idea of the sort of standard we're talking about. Darth Maul Apprentice is a 17-minute fan film about the Phantom Menace's antagonist that is arguably better than the Phantom Menace itself. The tone, score, direction, all of it are legitimately amazing, and it's got some of the best lightsaber action seen in any Star Wars outing. T7 Pro, the team behind it, spent 2 years on this entirely original story, and just look at it, it's incredible. At the time of me recording this, it's just about to top some 20 million views on YouTube, which admittedly isn't bad for two young filmmakers from Germany with nothing but a few cameras and a desire to see one of the franchise's best villains get the screen time he deserved. Number 9, Left 4 Dead Impulse 76. The almost overnight explosion of the zombie genre from occasional B-movie novelty to mainstream entertainment real estate is littered with the corpses of so many dreadful video game adaptations. They all really suck, which is weird because Northern 5 Entertainment proved with their Left 4 Dead adaptation that it isn't actually that hard to do. The 9-minute short explodes into life in precisely the sort of way that made the game so enjoyable. There's gore aplenty as the characters from the game fight their way through the zombie hordes, and the actors involved give fantastic performances as Zoe, Bill, Wade, Louie, and Francis. There's over 60 zombie extras, which requires impressive organisational nous for a fan film, and there's even some outlandish cameos from the rest of the gaming world. All of which manages to equal more enjoyment in under 10 minutes than most of the Resident Evil movies have mustered in their entire runtime. Number 8, Spider-Man Eclipse. So yeah, funny story, I originally wrote this article in 2016 and said that unless Marvel somehow pulled the perfect Spidey adaptation out of the bag, then history would record that his cinematic outings were always a little bit of a letdown. Feel bit silly now. And, I mean, yes, that does mean I should sort of bin off this entry from this list, but that does feel like I'd be punishing Bokeh Pictures for something that's not their fault. Let's just say that at the time they made it, they succeeded where Hollywood failed. Yeah, that works. Anyway, opening with Peter Parker bloodied, bruised, and unmasked, Spider-Man Eclipse is their attempt to portray the character in a darker, more visceral, and more realistic fashion. Making his escape through a warehouse, the film features some incredible CGI, fight scenes, and free running that really belies the small budget and crew involved. Although yes, it does lack the huge eye-dropping moments of its Hollywood incarnations, it does more to open up the persona of Peter Parker than any film had previously. Although yes, as all the comments have pointed out, the woolly costume is a bit of a weird move. Number 7, The Punisher, Dirty Laundry. So, true story to go along with that funny one, after reading the initial scripts and plans for the follow-up to 2004's The Punisher movie, actor Thomas Jane wrestled with himself and decided he couldn't betray the character he loved so much by playing him in what he thought would be a terrible sequel. So instead, he set about researching his source materials and keeping himself in peak physical condition so he could give Frank Castle the sort of screen return he deserved. Whipping together sufficient money for a short film, and with the help of his good pal Ron Perlman, you know, Hellboy, Jane produced a love letter to the fans. He then went around the world screening it at conventions and other Punisher-related events before the consensus was that this was too good to keep locked up. Thus, he released it on the YouTubes. In typical Punisher style, the story follows the vigilante simply trying to get his laundry done. However, when some street crime breaks out across the road, the now retired enforcer decides he can't stand idly by and allow it to just show them a bit with a Jack Daniels bottle. That's all you need. That's pretty much what it is. Number 6, Judge Minty. Carl Urban's Dread film went some way to repairing the damage of the catastrophic mess created by Sylvester Stallone, but it still left a lot to be desired for the $50 million that was invested in it. It took Judge Minty, an impossibly polished and fiercely gripping fan adaptation, to really show how the 2000 AD universe could be best realized. As a story, it is superb. As a spectacle, it is amazing. And as a piece of cinema, it stands head and shoulders above both of Hollywood's laboured attempts to bring these characters onto the big screen. Finding the perfectly compelling balance between his human nature and the brutality of a judge, the film's only main drawback is that its 25-minute running time is a lot less than both he and the story deserve. Number 5, the Super Mario indie film. There is some debate as to where the notion of adapting video games for cinema originated, but for most people, their first experience was with 1993's Super Mario Bros. Film. It promised to be dark, it promised to be gritty, but in the end, it was a critical and financial disaster. However, Austin-based filmmaker Joe Nicolosi managed, with only $400, to show exactly how a Mario film could work. Created as a short for South by Southwest, the indie Mario Bros. Gives us a hefty dose of reality, but combines it beautifully with the bright and fun vibrancy of the game's characters. Depicting Mario as a jaded and lovesick plumber, the story starts with him learning that his princess, figuratively speaking, is going out with some creep called Koopa. The solution? Take some mushrooms and jump on his head, obviously. Although only 2 minutes long, the idea here is so rich and well thought out that it's a crime against both films and movies that it hasn't been released as a feature-length film yet. If only there was some kind of groundswell of fan support to make this happen using the far more modern pressuring techniques of the that's me telling you to start the petition. Do I have to spell this out for you? Number 4, Power Rangers. Hey, so remember how the Power Rangers films really sucked? No, not that one. That's a cherished childhood memory. The one from the other year with Becky G and Walter White. That one. Yes, terrible. Well, back in 2015, Power/Rangers became a viral hit for its brutality, inventiveness, production values, and all-star cast. If they just made this, they would have made millions. Opening with an interrogation, then moving on to murder, drugs, and threesomes before the Black Ranger slaughters an entire room of gangsters, the 12-minute epic is about as far removed from the flashy kids show as it's possible to be. Starring James Van Der Beek and Katie Sackhoff, the short was created by Joseph Kahn as a love letter to the series and its legacy. The show's original cast members have all praised it as brilliant, but naturally though, it raised the eyebrows of the intellectual property holders almost clean off their faces. Still though, it's still online, so yeah, watch it. Number 3, The Hunt for Gollum. Debuting at the London International Festival of Science Fiction, The Hunt for Gollum is the creation of an entire team of amateur British filmmakers. Done for only $3,000, the film runs for an impressive 38 minutes and manages to create an impressive vision of Middle-earth using Tolkien's own appendices. Picking up between Bilbo returning from his adventures in The Hobbit, but before Frodo leaves in The Lord of the Rings, ironically the only bits of the story unmolested by Peter Jackson, the story centers around Aragorn's quest to stop Gollum retrieving information about the One Ring. Since its release, it's racked up well over 30 million views on YouTube. Fully deserved as well, as it looks fantastic and more than does justice to the richness of the world it's set in. Number 2, Lego Jurassic Park. By far and away, the most ambitious entry in this list also happens to be the most heartwarming. Way back in 2015, a father and daughter team released a 3-minute recreation of Jurassic Park made using nothing more than stop motion and $100,000 worth of Lego bricks. Well, that and a lot of time and patience. Since its release in 1993, Hollywood has tried and failed to recapture the magic of Spielberg's original. 2 direct sequels have been widely panned, neither of the world films really quite got it, but something about this adaptation reminds you exactly how exciting it all was as a child. Faithfully recreating some of the best scenes from the film, the short manages to capture all the enchantment of the original whilst adding a lot of the Toytronic charm that made the Lego movie so popular. It really is a triumph of filmmaking, and all the more so when you consider that a 9-year-old was at the helm. Number 1, Pokemon Apocalypse. Yes, I absolutely 1000% should have removed this entry following Detective Pikachu, but I just really want you to appreciate how perfect that film was by virtue of what fans were making years before. You see, the game's core audience, which is considerably older than Nintendo ever really acknowledges, had been crying out for years now for something they wouldn't feel childish enjoying. Detective Pikachu absolutely nailed it, but its similarities to this near-decade-old fan film are astonishing. Dark, gritty, neon, the story sees Ash embroiled with bribery, murder, and gang warfare, with Jesse, James, Brock, Misty, Oak, and Giovanni all making appearances. Visually speaking, the whole thing looks incredible, even if, yes, a few of the monster approximations are a little bit off. But still, it was so true to the core of the game and the story that many fans enjoyed that none of that really matters. And hey, who knows, with Detective Pikachu taking a quasi-Blade Runner approach, but also making sure it was really grounded in the canon of the games, they could just make this. Maybe, please? So there you have it, those are 10 incredible fan films that totally succeeded where Hollywood failed. Read by me, a man who has never failed at anything because obviously he's never actually tried. Let us know what you make of it all in the comments below, and of course don't forget to like, share and subscribe. But until next time, I have of course been Adam Cleary, and I'll see you soon.